Good morning and welcome to the AM News here on the AM Show. Our very first story this morning, initial findings on the drowning incident at Achiase in the Echima Mponia district point to the canoe being overloaded. 4 people who were part of a group of 10 crossing the River of Finn drowned after it capsized in the middle of the journey. According to the Ashanti Regional Minister Simon Osei-Mensah, the canoe involved in the accident had a capacity of 5 but was overloaded by 5 more people. He says though efforts are being made to procure safer plastic canoes, it's important for people to respect the capacity of the canoes.
The canoe they are talking about has a capacity of 5 people. Unfortunately, I'm told it had 10 people on board. So you can see twice the capacity was on board. And if you have such small canoe, as the weight increases, there's a possibility that it can take some water and the people can get drowned. And when they get drowned and you are like me, who is like a stone when he falls in water, definitely that will be the end of you, because you cannot swim your way out unless you get somebody to rescue you. I plead that if the capacity is 5, they should allow 5 people to go and then come for the next 5 people. Even if you spend 2 hours there before you cross, it's better than losing your life through this process. That is the caution I can give. And I'm also happy that the district chief executive says they are acquiring 2 new boats, plastic canoe for them, which they can use on the river. I feel this can also minimize the risk of they getting drowned.
In the same district, fire swept through the Nyinehin Catholic Senior High School on Saturday. Some aggrieved students who recently graduated are suspected to have carried out the arson. Mr. Osei-Mensah says the District Security Council has been tasked to fully investigate the matter.
In fact, what is surprising us is that RESEC sent a message out that some of the third-year students of the various senior high schools were planning to cause troubles after their final exams. So we should all have been on the alert. I don't know why this one, they left themselves loose and it happened. But this is something we've sent message around quite a long time from the level of the Regional Security Council, that some of them were planning evil. And unfortunately, it has come to pass in the case of Echima Mponia district. I've asked the DCE to call an emergency dissect meeting for them to discuss the issue. Because this one, the police will have to do the investigation. The fire service will also have to do the investigation.
Nothing works here. That's the outburst of Medina MP Francis Xavier Sosu, who has served notice of a constituency-wide demonstration to demand immediate government attention to the poor roads and drains in the area. Scores of residents at Oyarifa Green Hills, a suburb within the constituency, have been trapped in their homes by floodwaters for the past 5 days. Children are unable to go to school because the floodwaters are yet to recede. We'll hear from the Medina MP, Xavier Sosu, shortly. But first, my colleague Emmanuel Koranting visited the area for the 2nd time in 5 days and now reports.
The only difference between the situation we have here at Oyarifa Green Hill and what was the situation 2 days ago is just an addition of 2 extra days. The water levels are still pretty much around the knee level. The people are still trapped in their homes. Over the side, I see some of the kids who are trapped in their homes, just, running about in the house, which in itself has been inundated by the water. Across this particular stretch where I have been walking through the flat waters, I see a stretch of buildings with markings of the La Nkwantana Medina Municipal Assembly, which says stop work. Well, all of those warnings, if you like, from the Municipal Assembly have fallen on deaf ears, as we're seeing steady progress of the buildings on the waterways. I'll try and through the water, get to this side where I see a few of the people who are trapped in this particular house.
That was last week, Wednesday. We're not expecting it. It was just drizzling. Then all of a sudden it became serious. Then Thursday. This is not the second time. I think this is the third time. I've been here for 2 years and I've witnessed this for, I think, 2 years now. When it rains, there's no gutter, there's nothing should be done. We'll be inside, we can't go out. We have been stuck, the children are still home. We really need help. If the state, the government can bring us pump. For now, we can't plead for gutters because it's so choke here. There's no lay to be helped to create any gutters, but we need help as pump to let the water be a little bit okay so that we can go out, we can breathe well. The scent is too much.
If I tell me to be go to Bimpo. Yes, I damn so but to the fence, you must not go to Adriano. Me man to be school. Tazens you to and when you fiesta, I want to be school. And yes, Nana, Ado, say upon a chow, or my boy. Now when you go to Maya.
What you heard her saying, that she's been camped here since Thursday. She's not been able to go out, and she's calling on the president and by extension authorities within the area to come to their aid. And I see some of the kids here. How long since Thursday? That's 5 days now. How does that make you feel?
5 days.
How does that make you feel?
Bad.
You want to go to school?
Yes.
So what? How do you cross from this side to this side?
I walk in the bridge.
You walk over the bridge. Are you not scared that you may even fall into the pool of water?
I fall before.
You falling before?
Yes.
When was that?
Last week.
Last week you fell into the pool of water.
Yes.
I see. So how were you picked out of the water?
It is smelling.
I see. And you're hearing him, and of course that gives you an indication of indeed the threat not only to their properties, even their lives here.
Sensual number dia mini problem, but wo nyanyanchire ne scorpion no omu gugunsuo nani mesi mi kun omo tesese ne me kwa hwe no eti no ne kra nyame ni de ha me kra ne se wa bre na wo beda na mponchireni no musu munim se ne mponchireni su we su wa ha na we su asom na minim ne mame ne papa no ne nanam tese akwese wuti efie busu efie na dede wo fie sa na ete.
He's mentioning that there are, some animals, dangerous animals within the pool of water that's gathered here for 5 days. He says that he had actually got cause to kill a snake about 3 days ago.
Na kwa dem yes tonumu o senya manyina maye yekodem na efensom yo ansa na yekodem
Bansa modanfa
mu ana yada
dan suni mu
ai bebi ani ho ebe ko ye ni bebi a ebe pake nyamane ko e nti yedem sa
se mponcheni nso yedidi pa o ha
enya agro woda wontumi da
mo yeden
woda no me za adia.
Meanwhile, MP for the area Francis Xavier Sosu has served notice that he will lead the residents in a constituency-wide demonstration to get authorities to address the situation.
An urgent question in respect of the lack of planning. I've filed an urgent question in respect of all the roads in Medina, and I've actually the Mensa all the way to Amrehia roads. There's an urgent question on that. There's an urgent question on roads in Sakura. And there's an urgent questions on the abandoned project in Medina. In fact, there's an urgent question even on the hospital project that has been abandoned, because when you look at the Kekele hospital, it's just left with something maybe less than 10 or 15% of work, and the entire hospital will be ready. And this Kekele hospital services over 50,000 people annually. And yet, it seems that nothing is working in Medina. I cannot be an MP of an area that would not work. If it is not working, I will make it work. And that is why I am leading my people to demand from the right quarters our own fair share of national development. This is a letter I have addressed. It's just today that I sent this letter. And this letter, I address it to the divisional commander of the Adenta Division Command. And the letter is so clear that we are giving them 5 days notice, because next week Monday, under my own leadership, the chiefs, the elders, the youth organizations and the youth leaders, the transport associations, resident associations, everyone who has suffered for using those stretch, particularly from Ayi all the way to Amrehia. We are calling on all of them to come out so that we can use that last tool, which is a tool in a democracy, to freely express our anger to the state and to the government and to the people who are custodians of our money and who have given this roles to contract and have refused to either pay the people for the contractors to come or have just turned their deaf ear to the plight in Medina.
Now, 2 minority MPs from the Cape Coast municipality have warned that President Akufo-Addo should be blamed if there's bloodshed during the confirmation vote of the president's nominee for the Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly's chief executive position. Ernest Arthur has been rejected twice by the assembly members, and a third rejection will mean the president will have to nominate another person for the position. The 2 minority MPs, Kweku Rickett-Hagen and Kwame Nyako, have been holding a news conference in Cape Coast. Correspondent Richard Kojo-Nyako reports.
Assembly say they have been compelled to address the news conference because of the imminent danger relative to the confirmation of the president nominee for Cape Coast, Ernest Arthur. They say the assembly members having rejected the president nominee twice speaks volumes, and it represents one thing, that the nominee is not fit for purpose. They warn that should the president and his assigns force anybody on the people of Cape Coast, he should be prepared to bear the consequences of his acts.
And the people of Cape Coast have rejected Ernest Arthur. I would like to advise these responsible individuals to stop with immediate effect the meddling in Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly elections. They have no business here in Cape Coast. The following people are the Transport Minister, Mr. Kweku Ofori-Esiama, who's been meddling in assembly elections. The Regional Minister, Honorable Marigold Assam. Any blood, and I mean any blood, that is spilled here in Cape Coast as a result of this confirmation process will not be on my hands. It wouldn't be on the hands of Honorable Mintanyakun. It will not be on the hands of the decent assemblymen. It will only be on the hands of the president and the hands of the perpetrators who have come to Cape Coast to ensure that they forced Honorable Ernest Arthur under our throats.
They want the Interior Minister to investigate the invasion of invisible forces in Cape Coast to intimidate and harass the assembly members prior to the voting.
The assembly members would like to humbly ask the police commander to investigate a speculation that MPP's invisible forces and land guards have arrived here in Cape Coast on Saturday, the 9th of October, to intimidate the assembly members and the people of Cape Coast who, in their interest, will gather to observe the confirmation process and brutalize them if necessary. They have no reason to doubt that the MCE nominee is capable of doing that because he demonstrated that during the 2020 election when he was a parliamentary candidate and a certain MCE. It has been alleged that some of the personalities that I mentioned who are involved in the so-called Operation Force Ernest Arthur on Cape Coast are in Bajaya Hotel or lodge there, calling assembly members one by one, inducing them with monies, motorbikes, and contracts to vote yes for Ernest Arthur. Some are being intimidated, some are made to swear, and all manner of fear put in them in just an assembly election.
They further indicate they doubt the president has renominated Ernest Arthur and challenge them to use the right procedure in communicating so.
The Assembly members have received no summons or no notifications to whether the elections will come on or not. The Assembly members are appealing through us to demand summons from the authorities when these elections will be held. Number 2, information reaching them suggests that there had not been any communique in the form of a wireless message between the presidency, local government minister, and the Assembly on the renomination for the third time of Mr. Ernest Arthur by the president. The Assembly members would therefore like to demand a proof.
They end by inviting their ancestors to be with them as the battle ahead represent the democratic soul of the people of Cape Coast. Reporting for Joy News, Richard Kwejonya-Akon, Cape Coast.
Now, the Mental Health Authority has described the state of mental health hospitals in the country as not fit for healthcare delivery. A report by the WHO in March 2020 estimates that only 1.17% of people suffering from mental health receive treatment from public hospitals because only 3.4% of the total health budget is dedicated to psychiatric hospitals. This, according to the MHA, is due to the dilapidated nature of the hospitals with inadequate resources to run. There's more in this report by Nicholas Eko-Yamwa.
The World Mental Health Day is commemorated on October 10 each year to raise awareness on mental health issues around the world and mobilize efforts to support the sector. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, Ghana has an estimated population of 30.9 million. A situational analysis by the World Health Organization in March 2020 estimated that 650,000 people in Ghana are suffering from a severe mental disorder, and a further 2.1 million people are suffering from moderate to mild mental disorders. Speaking to Joy News at a seminar to commemorate World Mental Health Day, Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Mental Health Authority, Dr. Caroline Emisa, called on government to address the resource deficit to boost service delivery.
They haven't seen any renovations in a long while. We know that what we see in our facilities, probably due to the conditions we've talked about, people are not happy coming to our facilities, so they are not reporting there, so they are living with it in their communities. Some people are visiting prayer camps and other spiritual, traditional places. So we don't see, I will say that what we see in our hospitals is just the tip of the iceberg. These ones are the ones that probably have become severe and they would, or their families think they need help, more help than they've tried to give to them. So maybe they will show up in our facilities. But technically or ideally, we have a lot more people who are in the communities who are not accessing healthcare, either because the healthcare is not available where they are, so you refer them, they don't come, or they are seeking care from other non-orthodox places.
The Mental Health Authority is advocating that hospitals at the district levels establish a mental health department to improve access to mental health care.
So what I can see is that we're looking at integration. Once we talk integration, then it's not compartmentalized health services where we have to train separate personnel to take care of our mental health. So we want to train doctors who are already working in the system, in our districts, in our regions, to be able to see firsthand mentally ill persons within our communities, in the districts, at the regions, before when they need specialist services, we refer.
The seminar saw various speakers from different fields in the health sector suggest ways of improving mental health in Ghana. Nicholas Eko-Yamwa's report for Joy News.
And that's it for the AM News this morning. But the show continues with Israelai and myself. Stay tuned in.